Why is it that our culture rejects God? This is one of the defining features of our culture, of our world, that we are growing distant from the belief in God. And most of human history, belief in some form of divine reality was almost universal, right? Like ancient civilizations from Egypt to Mesopotamia to Greece to Rome, they all structured their societies around religion. Even during the rise of scientific inquiry in the 17th and 18th centuries, many of the most influential scientists believed strongly in God. They were figures like Isaac Newton, Johannes Kepler, and Blaise Pascal. They saw scientific discovery as a way of understanding the order of creation. And yet, many parts of the modern Western world believe in God, but that has been steadily declining. Now, church attendance has fallen, religious identity has weakened, and many people describe themselves as spiritual but not really religious or simply secular. So, the question that I have is, why does modern culture increasingly reject God? Why? What's the reason behind it? And the Bible actually provides such a great and profound explanation. And that's what we're going to be talking about for the rest of the video. The main reason that our culture rejects God is the human desire for autonomy, the desire to live independently from any sort of divine authority, because we like to be the authority and we like to be in charge. And if God really exists, then humans are not the ultimate authority over their own lives, and that's uncomfortable. God would define truth. God would define morality. God would define purpose, what's good, what's bad, what you can and can't do. But modern culture often values individual self-determination above anything else. People increasingly believe that each individual should define their own truth and construct their own moral framework. And guys, it upsets me so much because just listen to Paul, all right? Paul describes this exact tendency in Romans 1:25. They exchanged the truth about God for a lie, and they worshipped and served and praised created things rather than the creator himself. Paul said it so many years ago. Rejecting God is not news. It's when people have been placing other things at the center of their lives for so long. And that ties to moral accountability. And I believe that's another reason why the belief in God is often resisted. And it's that believing in God implies moral accountability. Because if God exists, then human actions ultimately matter. There will be one day when there will be judgment. And there is a moral law beyond human opinion, right? There is a standard by which human behavior is evaluated, per se. For many people, this idea feels quite uncomfortable. Rejecting God removes the sense of being accountable to a higher source or a higher authority. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, I've never knew how to pronounce that name, but he famously declared that God is dead, right? Not because he believed God literally died, but because he believed modern society had abandoned that moral framework that believing God once provided. So Nietzsche understood something important. When belief in God disappears, the moral foundations of our society, of individuals, begin to shift. And that takes me to the rise of secular explanations. Modern culture has also been shaped by scientific and philosophical developments. And that those things attempt to explain reality without referencing God at all. Like they're trying to ignore God. For example, during the Enlightenment in the 18th century, many thinkers began emphasizing human reason as a primary source of knowledge. Later, in the 19th century, guess who? Darwin. Yeah, Charles Darwin's theory of evolution offered a natural explanation for the development of life, which many people interpreted as removing the need for a creator, and people actually liked it. But it is important to note that scientific explanations do not necessarily eliminate the question of God, because I'm a science teacher, all right? So I know what I'm talking about. Science explains how processes work, but it does not answer deeper philosophical questions such as why? Why this? Why that? Why does the universe exist at all? Why do the laws of physics exist? Why are you here? Why is there something rather than nothing? Even today, many philosophers and scientists have acknowledged that these questions are still they still remain open. Like they can't answer them through science. And that takes me to the human search for meaning. Despite the decline of traditional religion in many societies around the world, the human search for meaning has not disappeared. People still long for purpose, justice, beauty, and transcendence. And I believe that this longing reflects something that the Bible describes in Ecclesiastes 3:11. Ecclesiastes says he has set eternity in the heart of humans. Human beings instinctively search for something beyond material existence. It's in us. The rejection of God does not eliminate this longing, and actually it often redirects it towards other things: career success, political identity, ideologies, personal fulfillments. Yes, but yet, these substitutes are not really filling that spiritual void or that hunger that humans have for their creator. So, just to end this video, modern culture may increasingly distance itself from the belief in God. And I think it will keep on happening, and even more and more and more. And the questions of did the universe come from? Why does morality exist? What gives human life meaning? These questions will remain unanswered if you just focus on what's the answers that science can provide. Human beings were created by God and designed to live in relationship with him and to worship him, and rejecting God may appear to offer freedom, but according to scripture, true freedom is found not in independence from God, but in reconciliation with Him. So even though you think you're not chained, you're actually chaining yourself to another God. And the point of this video is that reconciliation is possible through Jesus Christ.